So this is it. You have made the right choice. You've tuned into the Party Zone, and a very special Party Zone indeed. Now, this show first got aired in February of this year. It was the show that we filmed in Detroit, and I have to say I'm so lucky that I had the chance to go to Detroit to meet all these big artists from the past, the present, and the future. All these guys that have made a form of music that has just changed the whole music scene forever. I mean, mainstream artists have been influenced by them. Look at big festivals like the Love Parade. You hear the music in adverts. I mean, governments even had to bring in legislations to stop techno parties. Of course, that's what I'm talking about, techno. And to educate you, we've got this for you. Enjoy. Is there almost like almost politically like a thought behind it, that it's very much against the American structure? I mean, was it something you were consciously aware of when you started it, that this was really kicking against everything?
Not really, no. I mean, I just set up, I mean, it was no political agenda or anything like that. We was just doing something that we felt
that excited you.
We wanted to do, you know, and it didn't necessarily mean, you know, that it fell into the typical way of doing things.
No.
That was it. I mean, you know, I was making music, what I wanted and what I liked long before I realized how political the music business and how things were. You know, when I ran into that, you know, I didn't really understand it at first. So I had to learn to learn how to deal with it.
What about, so just tell me, what exactly are you up to right now? You've opened this store about, what, 3 months ago?
Yes, about 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
And what else happening? What's happening with the label? What
I'm just putting the finishing touches on the album to be released first of the year. The name of the album is called Mind and Body, and as Model 500.
Right.
And so I'm still doing the final edits and mixes on that.
Okay.
And this store, and that's it right now. I'll be doing some Infinity things after, you know, I get this out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm working on a mix CD that'll come out on TVT here in the U.S. It'll be called the Godfather Mix. And it'll just be like my favorite songs at the time.
So is that going to come out in Europe as well?
There was a worldwide situation, so I don't know who they're going to place it with in Europe or who their affiliates are, but they have it for the world.
And the album, when can we expect that in Europe,
late February.
Right.
Late February.
And then are you going to come over and...
It's probably be a tour with this one, and because, I mean, it's more vocals. It's like 80% vocals and songs and things. So there'll probably be a tour and everything with that in the spring or summer.
You've achieved a lot in your life. Is there anything that you really say, no, that's one thing that I haven't done yet, that's one thing that I really, you know, once I've achieved that, then I can say, right, that's it?
I've always wanted to program a radio station. So that's one of the things that I'm waiting to do.
In America? Or?
And probably here, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I think America needs it big time, you know. We've got some good radio stations in Europe. I think America needs something good.
Definitely here. That was the thing in my mind here. You know, and that's one of the things that's left to do. Even if I have to buy the station myself to do it, you know. Which is not too far out of the question.
Like the odd one out, because your music is not what, you know, the rest of the world really perceives as Detroit music.
Exactly. In fact, it was very, very difficult for me initially because at the time when I was trying to develop my style, you know, had I been in Chicago or maybe in New York, you know, easily people would have said, well, hey, this cat makes house music. We can identify him as that, and, you know, it's very simple. But because I was here in Detroit, I noticed especially some of the various European magazines, when they would review my records, they would say, well, this is techno soul. You know, and I was like, techno soul? What is that? It's techno soul, you know, and it got to the point where I was like, I actually called people, look, do not call my record techno soul. It is house music, you know, so it actually took me several years to, you know, I guess a part of staying consistent with the releases or whatever, where I finally was able to get people to say, okay, this guy makes house music and he's from Detroit. He's not from Chicago, he's not from New York. And just even here locally, there were a lot of record companies and different people who said, well, hey man, we really like your stuff, but it's not techno, so we can't release it, you know. So I had a very difficult time. But
wow.
I mean, people like the Burton Brothers at 430 West, Mad Mike, of course, Kevin Saunders, and all these people gave me an outlet to release my music. One of the best guys, JD, a guy named John David Simpson, but we know him as JD. He actually released my first big record, The Question, under Southern Grand Housing Authority, which, you know, is a big dance record in the UK. And I mean, he was one of the first guys that said, man, I don't care what you want to call it. It's hot, I like it, let's put it out, you know.
Yeah, that's what it should be, though, really. Yeah. How would you describe Detroit? What does it mean to you?
Detroit pretty much means to me a number of different things, but I guess if I had to narrow it down, I'd have to say that it's a place where there's a deep-spirited soul, not just musically, but I mean just in the people, you know. And unfortunately, with the reality of the hardships of the economic situations that plague every urban city in America, unfortunately, it's amazing that, you know, people have the resilience and the wherewithal to withstand just the perils of everyday life. So I think a lot of us just try to reflect that in our music. Some people reflect it from a darker side or darker nature, and that's where a lot of the techno comes in. Some people like myself reflect it in the house side or with other various forms of music. But it's just a place from which you can draw a lot of inspiration, you know, just to be able to say, you know, I'm a survivor.
This is some shit to show your kids.
So what are you going to do with that?
Well, this show my kids. 10 years down the road, you know what I mean? Daddy was cool. One time in his life. He was on MTV. Stop lying. Mom! He said he was on MTV. What keeps me here and what keeps me going are the friends that I have. And which is a lot. I mean, if you don't have friends, why stay in the city? Why stay anywhere if you don't have nice nice friendships and things that you can bounce to? If you have a bad day, you can call them and they can, you know what I'm saying? You can bounce things off like that. That's what Detroit offers me right now. But Detroit is, I don't know if you know, but Detroit is in this big, huge rejuvenation thing. It's a really big, huge thing that's supposed to be going on. But this is not supposed to happen for another 5 or 10 years. I might be an old man by the time it happens, but this is home.
Yeah.
My family's here. I'm really close to my mom and my brother, and my wonderful girlfriend is here. And so I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to get up and move to New York or get up and move somewhere else, but you know, I would rather, if I'm gonna continue to do this music and go to the next levels that I want to go to, I would rather get big and huge here in Detroit, where there's not much things happening, so I can be the Sean Buffy Combs of Detroit. Do you know what I mean? So you know, why not? Stay here and do it.
Yeah.
Why go to New York and claw and fight and you know, you got a couple of other parties, album opening parties going on, and then you got to fight and see if nobody's gonna come to mind. They're all going to hit, you know. So stay here.
Fair enough.
But you know what? Every time somebody puts out a project, a really big project from Detroit, everybody else in the world who's doing this dance music and these journalists, they expect people from Detroit to reinvent the wheel. And if they don't reinvent the wheel, then this album ain't, and it's like a lot of pressure. I'm not saying that I would love to do, of course, who wouldn't like to be, you know, an innovator or something like that and take the music to the next level? Who wouldn't? But that's a lot of pressure to do that. You know, a good track is, you can break boundaries and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily have to break boundaries to have a good track, though. Do you agree with that?
No, you
I mean,
are.
I mean, there's
No,
music
you
out
are
there that's just amazing that, I mean, some of the jazz artists, like, they're not breaking, they're doing some good, simple, not simple, but you know what I'm saying.
You are right, actually. I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, you can jump on the bandwagon with whatever the big sound is, it's going to go out of style, which is what usually happens, and then it goes right back to the music. And being that we do a lot of the more melodic-based stuff here in Detroit, we're right back in there.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's like a circle. It's like a cycle. Detroit ain't that. 6 months later, hey, I gotta get the new blah 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 album from Detroit. And it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, and you're right there with it and rolling with the punches.
So what's the best thing that's happened over the last few years for you?
I didn't die. That was heavy.
That's a good one.
That was heavy. I didn't die. God, you know, gave me another chance, and I wasn't I was supposed to be dead. I was shot with a big, huge gun, and it was supposed to leave a hole going. I didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, how can you top that one?
How could you top it?
Mm.
You know?
You're a very talented man.
Oh, thank you.
You know, he doesn't just make music, this man, because look, have you seen all the D-Jax stuff? That's all done by him.
Yes.
And this as well. What's this thing?
Oh,
over the back?
this is something I drew.
That's a cool one as well.
Yeah. This is something I drew a few years ago. This is a comic character that I had called Johnny Gambit. That's Johnny Gambit.
Right.
It's Cody Ashton, his partner. And I did this comic book years ago before I even became a techno musician or a DJ or anything. I was a cartoonist first before
Really?
Yeah, published and everything. And then I kind of got out of that and phased into techno, and here I am now.
Okay. So, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years' time then?
Well, I won't be DJing anymore. I can tell you that right now. No, I'll be out of that game. You know, like in 10 years, you know what I'd like to be like? I'd like to be like Yanni or John Tesh. You know, like they have these beach houses and they have their whole studio on the beach house, you know, and on the patio, you know, and they just make music on the beach. And they don't have to tour if they don't want to. And every time they put out a record, it's like 35, 40, 50,000.
And Yanni, is that the guy with the big...
It's the Greek guy with the long hair.
Yes.
The new age guy.
I was going, hold on.
I mean,
I've heard the
those
name
cats
before.
are awesome, man.
Yes.
I mean, you know, it's like, okay, you think they're cheese and everything, but you know, these cats sell records without even leaving their house.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to be in 10 years. I want to be married. And, you know,
And chill and
relax.
Well, I can't blame you for that, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, it does sound pretty, you know.
But I'm not going to be DJing to like 17-year-old kids, you know, when I'm, you know, 5, 10 years down the road, so forget about that.
Laura's been driving us around everywhere, introducing us to everybody. She's a doll. She's cool. We like her. She can be
We
an
like you too.
Oh, isn't that
Such
lovely?
love.
Touching moments on television.
What we're doing is like the 90s Motown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, back here, behind this building here, you got the Motown Studios.
Right.
You know, and this is where everything happened. You got Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, all the guys, you know, New Temptations. And, I mean, and so that gives us that sense of spirit of Detroit to let us continue on the tradition, whether it be electronic or acoustic or whatever. You know, music is a universal language, so we want to express the fact that, you know, we're here in Detroit, and it's kind of sad, though, but at the same time, it gives us a balance, because when we travel overseas most of the time, and then we come back home, and there's a sense of balance, because we don't have to be around a lot of spotlight or magazines or always doing interviews and everything, which is good, but we come back here, it gives us a sense of balance and focus.
This is your new album, Cosmic Messenger. But, we asked him about the story of the whole sleeve because the artwork is so amazing, and his girlfriend has done it. But as you can see, there's acupuncture needles in him. And I asked who did that. And again, the answer is my girlfriend. She just got a book just to make sure that she doesn't put it into the wrong nerves, and that was it.
The whole story of this is that acupuncture gives off electrons to the body. I do electronic music. This is why the album is called Electronic Poetry. Now, if you open it up here, you have a cricket that's also acupuncture. A cricket gives off electronic sound at nighttime. So basically, it kind of puts me in tune with nature. You know what I mean? So that's the story of Cosmic Messenger.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I do have those acupuncture needles right in my face and my hands, and it was a pretty interesting experience because I've never done it before. Not that I got cured of anything, but it was just an artistic expression that we wanted to put across.
Yeah. Get this down the radio now. It's timing.
Right.
only woman here making the music? Because I really noticed that. You know, you're reading through all the stuff and you're going, where's the women? Where are the women? What are they doing? How come you seem to be the only one?
Well, it seems like for one, I love competition, and you know, I really don't like to address the issue being the only woman, because music, I think, is important, more so than being the only. But I am one of the very few, and with me I'm so competitive. I like that drive to know that there's other people out there doing the same thing, and I can just go out there and do it too. You know, I don't know what every other women are doing, but most of them are maybe out partying or behind a desk.
What pulls you guys back? Because you all do it.
Well, I tell you, this is my hometown. This is my hometown. I grew up here, and there's some type of closeness here. I'm used to the decay, the area, and always have to watch behind your back. I'm just used to it. There's water here, you know, and in Atlanta, you know, all you look at is a whole bunch of trees and mountains, and it's like, I don't want to see that. I want to see some decay, you know. Who wants to look at trees and mountains?
I do, actually, but there you go.
You know, I mean, this is a place, actually, Detroit is a place where you can live and actually go somewhere else. Because the economy here is very low.
There's a car coming at us at a very fast speed, man. Jump out the way quick.
Might be a drug drop.
See, that's the kind of shit that drives me crazy. He's sitting right downstairs and won't answer the phone. Never mind. You don't want to know.
It's gonna be my way, baby, or it's not gonna be nobody's way.
Oh, no, I'm really aching from my flight.
I know I look like a womanizer when I do some shit like that, right? Oh, yeah, I'm like,
ah, yeah, because you're so odd.
You know what? Did you? I called you.
I know.
And you never called me back?
No, because I lost your number.
You lost my number?
There's this real beautiful creativity here, music-wise. That's, you know, a lot of the stuff we've been covering in the show. It's all about the music, and people are really doing stuff. And it's so wonderful to just see that, you know, even though on the one hand everyone's being dragged down, there's some people going, no, we're going that way up.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so wonderful about this place.
Absolutely. You know, you take nothing and you make it into something great, and then people come from around the world to see this here. You know, when I go back in 1986, remember in 1986, before I started this project, it was a problem. But my job was to come up with a solution, and here's the solution.
Yeah.
This wonderful, wonderful project.
Yeah. So what's your proudest piece? What's like the one thing that you just go, I love that bit?
Well, I'm working on that piece now. I would love to leave here and go to Washington to polka dot the White House.
Whoa! Okay, I vote for that one. I'm up for that one. I know I'm not an American citizen, but if my vote counts, you've got mine. That would be great.
Absolutely. Polka dot the White House.
Get the president out here. Get him out here now! This is great.
I put the shoes up there on the telephone line because I knew my neighbors was talking about me, and I could feel the voices of the words traveling through the telephone line. So I put the shoes up to let them know that I knew.
Okay. Okay, and has it changed anything?
Yeah, they know that the shoes are up there now.
Okay. There is something special about Detroit. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but there is something...
Cheap property.
No, it's
That's
not.
what it is.
It's not.
It is.
No, but
It
it's...
Look.
There's something about the
Where
vibe
can you buy?
there.
Where else can you buy a building that has 4 levels for $70,000?
What?
How much does it cost for a house in London?
We don't want to know. Wow, you can't even get a room for that, you know?
That's actually Canada.
Is that Canada?
Yes, that's actually Canada.
That is so mad, isn't it? Hi, Canada.
You know what? We have this secret weapon in my office where if I push that red button, all of that will be demolished. But if I told you where that button was, I'd have to kill you.
What can you say to that? I don't really want to know where the button is. I think that's rather nice. Why would I want to destroy that?
Because it takes away from the whole, you know, Detroit thing.
I
You might see that and say, wow, that's what America really is.
Should
and
be
you see
like.
Detroit, and then it's great from here, but, you know, you go inside of it, and just kind of, you know, some people lose their focus.
You have to just once come over to Detroit. You got to go and see this, because seeing it on TV is not the same. There is a feeling here that is quite special. That I don't know if you can really put that across on camera, but there is definitely something here, and it's really exciting. I love being here.
You got a lot of people selling their soul to get somewhere. You got a lot of people think because they DJ for 3 years, they're a DJ. Oh, no, you got a lot of records, bro, to come back and then present. And let's see a DJ work a black crowd. And then when you come to doing parties, like you said, when you come to Europe and do parties, you got a crowd there. You ain't got to work it. So anybody can be a DJ. Come to my neighborhood and let people pay $5 or $7. They be ready to beat you up because you ain't making me dance. That's what I call a DJ. Now, all this other stuff, you know, that ain't happening. You know, so I'm not trying to, you know, I'm this big DJ, I deserve $5,000. Okay, that bet, whatever. I understand the economics at the door. Okay, don't pimp me, don't prostitute me. Okay, but I just want to see the realism of it, you know, come back to the form, you know. Well, you had to play. I had to bait and switch the crowd to get to play that Depeche Mode or that Cybertron back in the day in 82, 83, you know what I'm saying? You know, I got my first mixer in 76, 10th grade. Yeah, 76, 77. So I've been trying to master my craft for a long time. So I'm not in competition with nobody. I done had to find and seen it. So a lot of people say, I'm the man. Now, I got this, I got that, I got me album deal, label deal. Okay, you know, same motherfuckers you see coming up, you're gonna see them coming down. You know what I'm saying? And then it's the hype, then it comes to the promotion. Oh, I'm sponsored by such and such. Okay, bet. But you know, you can't take none of this shit when you die. You know what I'm saying? But let's see if your shit sell like steel. You know, Detroit stuff will always sell. You know what I'm saying? It'll always sell. And that's something that Chicago cats, the original cats who made house music, will always sell, because people who really want to know are going back and trace history. You know, and that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, it's straight. That's what it's all about.
Okay, you know, you're still watching the Detroit special on the Party Zone. As you can see, a very big group in front of me. We've got Octave One and Ox 88. Now, can you first of all, because there's so many of you, can you first all introduce yourself? Tell the camera who you are.
Start at that. DJ Digital, Direct Beat Records.
I'm Lenny Burton from Ox 80. I'm from Octave One. Octave One. That's what he should have said.
Octave One.
Yeah, Octave One.
Okay. Latoya Vaughn from X5. Of Ox 88. I'm Renita of Ox 88.
Oh, I'm sorry. You first, my friend.
Okay. Tom from Ox 88.
Lawrence Burton from Octave One. Lionel, Octave One.
Okay, so now listen, because since we've come here to Detroit, it's almost like everything is so interwoven. Everyone's got something to do with everyone here. It's almost like this big family tree. Now, where are you guys in this family tree, and how do you guys, you know, Octave One and Ox 88, what's the connection between you guys?
Wow.
Who wants to go this one?
So many people. I'll define it. With Ox 88, they're on Direct Beat Records, and Octave One is on 430 West Records. Direct Beat is the sister label of 430 West. That was the second label that we decided to start, and they are the premier artists on that label.
You can hear a bit of everybody. You know, like Juan, you can hear a bit of Kraftwerk and George Clinton and his stuff. And in our stuff, you can hear a bit of that, plus a little bit of Juan and a little bit of Kevin. So it's going to be that way. It's just how music evolves.
being in the middle of it, where do you think it's going to go from here?
Wow, that's a good question. I got a feeling that it's probably going to kind of get closer together in time, because I think a lot of the newer labels, unfortunately, are probably going to start falling off, realizing that they should have always been producers instead of actually running a record label. And they're going to probably levitate to some of the more established labels. It's going to be bitter, but I think it has to go in that direction, because at one time, even before this new wave that's around again, it was a lot more labels, Decisive, Retroactive. It was so many other labels that just kind of fell in the woodwork in time, you know, and those kind of levitated to a certain label like Planet E, Carl, you know, and his Planet E label. So I think the same thing is going to happen with the scene now. The newer labels are going to fall off, realizing that they are producers and, hey, I really just want to make music. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to have to, you know, worry about this artist over here. I just want to make music and have my music placed on a label that understands what they're trying to do.